A few years ago I did something terrible. Something that I really wish I didn't. Something I can never take back. It all started when my girlfriend, ex-girlfriend, broke up with me. I know this might seem trivial and just part of life and growing up as a person. However, unfortunately for me, it had the complete reverse effect. I know what you'll think. I'm childish and I just need to take it on the chin and deal with it, and you'd be right. But I didn't. I just didn't. I was hurt. More than hurt. I was offended, insulted. I mean, how could she? After everything I've done for her. It was me who gave her a place to live. It was me who helped her pay off her debts. It was me who helped her get a job. And she wants to throw it all back in my face. I wasn't going to allow that to occur unpunished. I know it was petty and that I was wrong. I was so very wrong. But you have to understand, I was desperate. I was hurting so deeply it honestly felt as though my heart was aching. It was throbbing so hard. I honestly thought at any point I would explode. And it would kill me instantly. I know that sounds dramatic, and honestly, I'm not looking for sympathy. I'm not. I don't deserve it. I'm not the victim here. Well, not anymore. I made sure of that, and I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I wish I just took my own life instead. Then maybe none of this would have ever happened. I was so down and furious I couldn't even sleep. I was just so frustrated. I was angry. Honestly, I could feel my body shaking with rage. So I got up. And with hatred and darkness in my heart, I booted up my laptop. I wasn't, and I'm not a stranger to the dark web. I've spent countless hours trying and failing to navigate it, to quell my boredom. I only ever found the usual rabbit holes, falling into the typical drug and honey trap sites and forums. Lots and lots of forums. And although I didn't really know what I was looking for or even where to find it, if I did, in truth I subconsciously, I guess in some way knew. I just knew I wanted for her to hurt. I wanted her to hurt like she hurt me. I wanted her to feel embarrassment I had felt and suffered at her hands. My original plan, although very distasteful and wrong of me, wasn't malicious in intent, at least not violent anyway. I just wanted to humiliate her, like she humiliated me. I still had photos and videos of her from our time together, personal, shall we say, videos and photos of her. And in my pent-up anger and depressed state, I thought it was a good idea, and just an idea, to use these against her. I see now that I was wrong from the start, but I wish, oh how I wish I had not done it. As awful as it seems, there was nothing to what I actually did. I couldn't find it, I just couldn't. I wish I had given up, but of course I didn't. I kept digging and digging, clicking link after link, until eventually I clicked upon a link and I found something that caught my attention. It was a forum called the Naughty List. On it read a question: do you know someone who has been bad? If so, maybe you should put them on the naughty list. Perfect, I thought. This has got to be it. I'll upload all of my personal photos and videos on there, and maybe even a link to her social media, and we'll see who's laughing then. I thought about adding her address, but as she was back living with her family, even I drew the line there. And I know how noble I was, so I am so pathetic. The forum wasn't what I expected, though. You couldn't just upload to their homepage. There were different sections to it, or punishments, as they called it. I remember thinking how dramatic, how dumb and naive I was. There was several different sections: Elf on a Shelf, Krampus, Cramps, and Frozen Fields, among others. Yeah, I know. Very Christmassy, right? I thought so. It kind of made me chuckle at the time. I guess that's why I didn't think it was so serious. Schoolboy mistake. And as you know, mistakes always have consequences. Anyway, with the sections Elf on a Shelf kind of made me crack a half smile, but that's not the one I went with. I chose the one called Slay Snatcher. I don't know why I did. It was just kind of funny to me. After clicking on it, I had to wait a good minute and a half before this bright white page loads up, filled with a few black text boxes and a text that reads, Santa is wanting to write up his naughty list. Please fill in the details and he'll do the rest. I remember thinking it was just a cute idea. And all, I thought it was just kinda stupid. But that's what I did. I filled it in regardless. Name, age, birthday, links to personal social media. It was all there. Everything I was so desperately looking for. And of course, photo uploads. I remember thinking to myself, jackpot, and smiling smugly, slimy, half cackling in the process. Fuck. It wouldn't allow me to upload any videos, but the photos were more than enough for me. It asked for the person's address, but as I previously said, I wasn't really ready to go that far. But I did write in her hometown. Our hometown. Something I really wish I didn't do. Sorry, just a second. I just wish I didn't do any of it. After I had finished putting in her information without even a moment's hesitation, I clicked submit. After a few seconds, a little box appeared asking, "Are you sure? Santa won't forget." He checks that list twice. I'm sorry. All names are final. I smugly pressed yes. And that was that. Perfect, I thought, until I was redirected to another page. It took a few minutes to upload, but when it did, it caught me off guard. It simply said, "Thank you for submitting to the naughty list. We really appreciate it. Sit back, relax, and Santa will slay snatch those ho-hos." Santa will empty his sack and then put them in one. He knows when you're being naughty. This whole thing took me back a bit. It took me a few minutes to process what it was saying, and I just fucking laughed. As awful as that sounds, it's true. I mean, come on. It's fucking gross and admittedly sick, but it, at the time, just seemed so funny. And I thought to myself, there's no way it could be real. And I mean, after all, I didn't care. I had achieved my goal. I thought, job done. It's all uploaded and people will see them and message her on social media, and then she'll be humiliated. She'll be the one being pushed down into dirt. So feeling better about myself, I calmly and confidently shut down and wiped everything correctly, making sure I couldn't be traced or implicated in any way. I was already heavily protected. I knew that, but as anyone who uses the dark web will tell you, it's better to be safe than sorry. The next morning I awoke with the biggest, most disturbing smile I have ever produced. I honestly must have looked like the grinning Cheshire cat from Alice in Wonderland. I was so damn pleased with myself. Looking back on that now, it honestly makes me feel sick. I couldn't wait to see the fruits of my labor. I was so excited to see her suffer. I wanted her to hurt, and I wanted her to know, well, more accurately, think it was me, but have no way to prove it. I wanted to break her, and for her to feel as worthless as she had made me feel. But to my absolute dismay and disappointment, nothing happened. I waited and waited, but nothing. No angry phone calls or texts, no outraged social media posts, nothing at all. I thought at first that maybe she could have been trying to ignore it, or maybe she had reported the abuse and had been told not to engage in any potential troll or creeper. I mean, surely it worked, right? I mean, there's no way I could check. I couldn't find the link again, even if I tried. Anyone who had surfed the dark web will know that this is true. It's just not catalogued. It's a mess, and I only stumbled across it by chance in the first place. Oh, how I wish I hadn't. So a few more days go by, and now my excitement has faded, and I feel dejected and genuinely upset that it clearly hasn't worked. Nobody could be so calm if it had. And I couldn't exactly ask her or go check. That would just point the finger straight at me. So after a while I just gave up. In truth, the whole ordeal was now tiresome. And as sad as it sounds, it had strangely made me feel better, like I had gotten it all out of my system somehow. A few days later, I was awoken to a loud knock on my door. The previous drama of my former relationship had completely escaped my mind at this point. And just for some context, I live alone and don't get many visitors all too often, so I was more annoyed to have been woken up than curious to see who it was at my door or for what reason they were there. So you can imagine my shock when I flung open the door only to be greeted by the stern faces of two police officers. Shit, I thought. This is it. I'm going to prison. Everyone is going to think that I'm some kind of freak, which, I guess in all fairness, I was at the time. They asked to come in, and of course I obliged, not wanting to make a scene and make things potentially worse for myself. I remember thinking at the time they only asked to come in, so as of right now, I'm not under arrest or anything. So I better see what they want, but what they asked me completely and utterly knocked the wind out of me. When was the last time you saw Katie? I was speechless, and for a second I must have looked like the most guilty and suspicious person in the world. Realizing this, I quickly shook the look of surprise and dread off my face and answered as calmly as I could muster. Not since we broke up. Around 2 weeks ago. this was true, but it still didn't save me from their line of inquiry or their barrage of intense questioning and scrutiny. Where were you the night of? I told them the truth. I was at home. Can anyone verify this? I said, well, no. I live alone, but I did get dropped off home after work by one of my colleagues, which is routine after every shift, so he can, I guess. And what was the time that you arrived home? I told them the truth. Around 10:30. The cameras at work should show me leaving at about 10:20, and it's only about 10 minutes drive to get home. Did you leave your property at any time after you returned? No, I meekly, but as affirmatively as I could, retorted. And there's a camera by my apartment's entrance that will show I'm telling the truth. His face and intense stare of concentration into my eyes seemed to waver and loosen ever so slightly. So I thought I could push my luck and ask, what is all of this about? He stated, although he can't give me the details of an ongoing investigation, Katie had been reported missing and had not been seen for close to a week. She was last seen by her mother leaving her home to shop and browse the store, but never returned. The police left soon after, and actually thanked me for my time. They did check the CCTV, and with my boss and colleagues who confirmed my story and that I was telling the truth. Days turned into weeks and still nothing. It seemed as though she had just vanished into thin air. I couldn't believe it. It couldn't have been because of me. I thought maybe it's possible some creep had stalked her social medias and found her address after I posted them along with the images, but surely it had just been a coincidence. That stupid forum couldn't be real. I mean Santa's naughty list, come on, get a grip. I thought all of this to myself. The longer it went on, the more horrible I felt. I know I wasn't physically responsible, but in one way or another I had caused this, or at least put the wheels into motion. I felt just as guilty as if I had done something to her myself. I mean, this is the girl I once loved, the girl I still love, and I had done this. I had caused this in her poor mother. They had been estranged for years, and it was me who finally got them to reconcile. And for what? So I could just destroy her worse than she could have ever possibly envisioned? I couldn't live with myself, with what I had done. I tried to get on with life normally, but it was hard. I couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat, and you know something, I knew I deserved it. I would cringe every time I felt myself feeling sorry for myself. I'm no victim, I am a fucking monster. A wolf in sheep's clothing, and I deserve it. And I deserve to have what happened to her happen to me. She didn't deserve it. I was selfish. I was disgusting and pathetic. I was weak. I was so very weak. I took up drinking to make myself sleep. Anything to numb the pain. Anything to get the image of her face and the sounds of her screams out of my head. I couldn't go to the police. How could I? If I confessed, my life was as good as over. Selfish as it was, I just didn't believe it would even help find her if I did. Maybe I was just being a coward, but it was hopeless. She was gone. I waited every morning for an update. Every no new information today update killed a little piece of me. Each and every time I was tortured until one day they did find her. Sorry, give me a second. They did find her, but I am sure you can tell already this story doesn't have a happy ending. It was weeks later, but she was eventually found in an old abandoned factory on the outskirts of the next town over. I just couldn't believe it. I could feel my throat tightening to the point that it was a struggle to breathe. When I heard the news, I just begged God, please, no. I thought in my head that it couldn't be happening. I just begged and pleaded with whoever, whatever could hear me, that it must be some kind of mistake, a mix-up, that it wasn't. That it couldn't be down to me, but unfortunately it was no mix-up. There was no mistakes. When you answer yes, I'm sure. When I answered yes, I'm sure. I wanted her to suffer, and God damn it, I got my wish. She was found stuffed down one of the now defunct chimneys. Her body was stuffed into a sack. A toy sack. I couldn't believe it. I felt sick. I feel sick now, thinking about it. This must be some kind of sick joke. I kept trying and failing to convince myself. I felt my body tremble. She was found with her body deteriorating, but they knew it was her. They knew it was her because in her eye socket was a small piece of paper. A small piece of paper that read, "Naughty list, Katie. You should have been good." God, I blacked out. I collapsed where I was standing and I hit my head pretty hard. When I regained consciousness, I hoped, I prayed it was just a bad dream, but of course it wasn't. It was real. It was all real. And it was all because of me, and I'm so sorry, Katie. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for what they did to you. I'm so sorry for what I did to you. I have to live with this guilt every day. Not a day goes by that I don't think about confessing or ending my own life. In some sick way, I sometimes think that would make up for it, or at least make us somewhat even somehow. Even though I know that would be impossible. I can't imagine what they did to you. What they put you through. I can't imagine the fear and terror you must have felt. I can't imagine your final thoughts or how confused or alone you must have been. Nothing will ever make up for the torture I subjected the girl I once loved and cherished to. All because of my own ego and misguided sense of pride and self-worth. I wish I could take it all back. I really do, but I can't. And that will sadly never be able to change. You deserve justice, Katie. You deserve to be able to rest in peace at the very least. Maybe confessing will bring you and your family closer. Maybe ending my own life will make us even. But regardless of the answer, I'm far too much of a coward for either option. I'm so sorry. Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas. That tale was, oh my god, so bone-chilling, and I hope you enjoyed. I hope my voice wasn't too annoying, and if it was, tough. But, this was a... Oh, I need to collect myself after that. I think I put myself too much into a character. Breathe. Everyone breathe in. Breathe out. Alright. What a way to have a Christmas, right? This one was called The Naughty List. It was a story written and posted to Creepypasta in December 24, 2020. It was written or accredited to the author Calum Brooks. And if you want to read it yourself without all my dramatization, you're welcome to do so, and you can find the link in the description below. I do hope that everyone is safe wherever they are, and that they're having a safe and warm Christmas together with their family and friends, or friends and family, whichever way. way works for you. But I'm probably releasing this on Christmas Eve, I would say. So it may be something to snuggle up to and try to sleep. You may not even hear me talking anymore. But I digress. I got sidetracked. I talked too much. Let's end it here. I am Grim. And as always, I am signing off.